Hi, Jake.
Hi, how are you?
I am good, thank you.
Awesome.
Really
Good to
nice to
be here.
meet you.
Let me
Really,
fix my screen real quick.
yeah,
I don't do many Instagram live, so this is cool.
you should.
I know. I'm
You have
usually on
such,
Facebook.
you have such a big fan base.
Oh, well, thank you. All right, here we go.
Yeah,
Cool.
that's it.
So it's what is it, 7:30 there? Is it dark there?
It's not dark yet, it's still light.
Okay.
Um, it goes dark in about an hour or so, so it's still light.
Okay, cool.
You can hear me well, everything's fine?
Yep, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, amazing. So thank
Awesome.
you very much for joining this webinar because a lot of people are, of course, we have a lot of doubts now, and marketing is a pain in the backside anyway, yet alone with this really challenging times that we live. And I think it will be really beneficial for a lot of them. And you're amazing.
Oh,
Absolutely
thank
amazing
you.
at this. We were very happy to have found you.
Well, thank you.
I thought we would do a small introduction. So I would ask you a little bit about yourself, if you can tell us, and how you actually became to work in the permanent makeup industry marketing area.
Sure. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Jake Randolph. I go by PMU Marketer, but you can call me Jake. Anyways, I have been in the industry about 4 years now. I started out by I didn't go to school for marketing or anything like that. Like I kind of just like came upon it as something that kind of was able to it allowed me to combine my creativity and technical skills into one. And as I was kind of studying it and learning about it, it was kind of, I mean, I think everything happens for a reason, but um, it was one Easter, we were sitting there with my aunt, and she was like, and she's a permanent makeup artist. And back then, I didn't really know that much about what permanent makeup was.
Cool.
But anyways, she was like, yeah, I've got my small business, and I've shared a few posts on Facebook and gotten a little engagement. And I was like, hey, I'm learning about marketing, so let me help you out. And we started working with her. She was working like 1 or 2 days a week part time, and within like 3 months, she had to add a day and work 5 days full time,
Wow.
all clients back to back. So it blew up really quick. And then once the salons that she worked in, because she rented a few different rooms, once those salons saw the results, they asked about it, and she of course gave them my contact info. And really, the rest is history after that. I worked with salons for a while, and then I really branched it on Facebook and found more permanent makeup artists because I found that was really my favorite to market.
So
Just because
you did
there's,
a little bit of beauty as well, not just permanent makeup.
yeah, I do all kinds of beauty stuff like lash extensions, skincare, like basically
Good
anything
to
in
know.
beauty I've done.
Really
But
good to know. Really good to know. Well, I think you're amazing at this because you just have like a clear vision, very fresh. And compared to all the big brands and the agencies and everything, they just, of course, they cost a lot of money, but then you don't have that input, that interaction. You just speak to, you never have the same contact person. It's really refreshing to speak to someone like you who's just really hands-on with the business as well.
yeah, that's one thing I found when I was looking into marketing, and like I took a couple courses like how to start your own marketing agency and stuff. This was like 5 years ago. But all the guys were like, yeah, you need to charge $2 or $3 or $5,000 for your packages. And when I
Wow.
was looking into it, I was like, well, the typical permanent makeup artist and even salon can't afford that. So I
Exactly.
was able to really, over the years, really adjust my service where it provides maximum value for a much, much more affordable price than $5,000.
Well, that's amazing because small businesses like us work much better with small businesses like you. So
Right,
it
exactly.
works, just connects. So, when this whole, because these are really different times we live now. And when this whole coronavirus thing started and the lockdown as well, many of us were wondering in the permanent makeup industry, well, should we continue posting? Should we still do stuff? Like, will people think that we don't care about everything that's going on in the world? What should we post about? And I did get a lot of questions from our students as well, asking, you know, there's still 5 weeks in the UK remaining of lockdown. Is there something that they should start doing ASAP in order to, you know, start working again after lockdown in terms of marketing and advertising their business?
Yeah, I mean, I will say I've been following my clients and stuff, and I know the past couple of months have been very tough for everyone, and very weird times just because of all the things going on. However, the good news is I think people are starting to realize like we're not all going to die. This is not the worst thing in the world like they predicted. And so without getting too much into that, I think the good news is that everything is coming back. As far as, and that's a common question I get even before COVID, like a lot of business owners were like, how soon in advance should I start posting? How soon in advance before opening should I start advertising? And I've always told people about 4 to 6 weeks out is when you should start really advertising. And there's a couple reasons. One, if you've ever done any ads or any kind of marketing, you know that people, even if you have the best ad in the world and the best offer in the world, people don't just sign up instantly. And so marketing and branding and all those terms really come down to one thing, and that's building relationships and trust. And you can't build relationships and trust from one click of an ad. Now, the whole point of the ad is usually to get that initiation, to find those people who are interested, and to build that connect, or to at least start the connection. And then everything after that point, from that click of the ad, that goes all into your sales process, your content that, and we'll get into content more in a bit, but what kind of content you're posting and everything to really just build that trust, and to also kind of guide your potential client from, hey, I'm kind of interested in permanent makeup. I don't know if it's right for me, all the way along the journey of, hey, I've got it done. I'm telling my friends about it. And now I'm getting other procedures done too, because I love it so much. And so you're really the guide along their journey.
Yeah. So I continued personally, I continued posting because I asked our audience what they prefer us to do. Basically, I was just really honest, and I said, it's not that we don't care, but do you still want to see posts from us, or should we just drop it for a little while, you know, just take a break? And they were fine to, we didn't get negative feedback from that, but some artists didn't. And now, you know, they just really need to start focusing, I suppose, now, because we just have a little time left. Okay, so starting this whole sponsored ads thing, because you have two main platforms, Facebook and Instagram, that are really good in the UK. Is it one platform better than the other to have sponsored posts on? Because I know you can allow a sponsored ad to run on both platforms, but then it does sometimes take a little bit more money without it being cost efficient on Instagram, for example, rather than Facebook.
Yeah, so this is a common question because a lot of people don't know that Facebook does own Instagram. They bought Instagram, I think, 5 years ago, maybe. And so whenever we're setting up an ad and stuff, a lot of times we will put it on both Facebook and Instagram. But like you said, it can kind of split the budget up. As far as which one is more effective, because that's what everybody wants to know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's good to have both because obviously Instagram's been very popular the past couple of years, but I've been watching, and I've even been watching my own Instagram, and I've seen engagement drop tremendously. And so I think it's good to never rely on one single platform, because what happens if you put everything on Instagram and then all of a sudden the Instagram engagement drops, you don't get any more views, like now you're screwed, and it takes time to build back up. So I think it's good to have like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Google, and then like Google My Business, things like that. Just, you want to have a wide variety of traffic and attention, because that way you don't have a single point of failure in your business.
Do you do that as well? Do you do Google as well? Google Ads for?
I do. I don't promote it as a service a lot, because for the typical, for you for training, it would be good. But for the typical permanent makeup artist that is just starting out, Google can be expensive, and you do need kind of like an established website and stuff for it. And so I find that just building a good social media presence and following my social media strategy is much more effective long term, because you're, like I said, you're building those relationships, whereas Google, not so much.
Impersonal, isn't it? And
right.
As a business, you don't really even see that engagement like you see from Facebook and Instagram, because you don't really speak to the customer. It's just them. You're just reaching out to them, but that's it. There's no engagement.
Exactly. So
is it in the US, because you moved to Alaska now?
Yeah, I'm in Alaska now.
That's amazing.
It's
Like that's
crazy.
really far.
Yeah.
But is one more popular than the other in America?
It depends on what part of the country. I think, like I said, Instagram's been more popular the past couple of years.
Here.
But as far as engagement goes, I find that Facebook groups are still amazing. I
Mm.
also find that when doing ads, getting people to message your Facebook page is still by far my favorite strategy because the, Instagram still doesn't have any ads that will allow people to directly message your Instagram account. Of course, they can go in and DM you, but that takes multiple steps compared
Yeah.
to Facebook's version. And so, yeah, I mean, Facebook's still probably my favorite, but I strongly believe everyone should have an Instagram. Everyone should make sure their Instagram looks nice and everything.
Yeah.
But I would lean towards Facebook if I had to pick one.
Yeah. There's a really big rush now for Instagram followers, and everyone's crazy about that. But I find that proportionally, our let's say clients that come from sponsored ads will be about 80% via Facebook and 20% via Instagram.
Right.
I think Instagram is just, if here, at least for us, sponsored ads just brings followers, but it doesn't necessarily bring paying customers.
Yeah, and one thing I was actually talking about with someone yesterday is it's kind of like a whole ecosystem. Like a lot of times it's hard to track where people come from because even if you ask them like, hey, where did you hear about us? A lot of people don't remember. Maybe they did see a few of your ads and decided to finally go to your website, but then they'll say, oh, well, I found you on a website. Well, no, they actually saw your Facebook ads. They just don't remember that. And so like, I know when I'm personally shopping around and stuff, depending on the service or the product, I'll look at someone's Instagram, but then maybe I'll go look at their Facebook next, or maybe I'll go to their website. And so my point is, it's good to have a foundation of everything.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Really good point. I told you I'll be grilling you in this webinar. So.
Go ahead.
I know you work with some of the big, or have worked with some of the big names in America, which looks really good on your business card, honestly. And you have quite a few clients from the UK as well, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, a large bit of my client base the past few years has been in the UK.
Yeah.
I've had people in everywhere, Spain, all over Europe.
Yeah. I think I actually started recognizing, so when I see a sponsor that, because it shows me as well, I kind of started recognizing the style and the caption and the text and everything else. So I'm like, okay, she's working with Jake too. So that's amazing, honestly. Hi, Medine. Someone keeps wanting to say hello to you. So I think.
Oh, hey, Medine. Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah, everyone is. So it's been really challenging in these times because we just don't know what to post about. We've had, of course, I have a lot of work that I never really got the chance to post because I just have thousands of photos and many clients. But other people have really struggled with finding ideas about what to post since we don't have any fresh work.
Right.
Is there anything you suggest other than obviously, you know, flashbacks or throwbacks or whatever?
Well, I think this is a great opportunity for people because, like, let's say last year when everything was booming, you could get by with posting your work and stuff, and a lot of people were too busy to do anything else. I've always been preaching and teaching, do videos, especially educational videos. But now that people have a little bit more time at home, or probably a lot of time at home, now is the time to build some of those videos I've been talking about. And if you haven't been following me for a while, I'll explain. Especially right now, people are going to be, when businesses open back up, people are going to be a little bit leery, a little bit scared of coronavirus, obviously. And so you've got to find ways to build that trust and really show them that you know what you're doing, it's safe, there's no risk to them, and things like that. And so I would make videos at home. Like, you don't have to, I mean, if you can make it to your studio, that's great. But there's a couple of different things you can do. One, you can talk about the process and the different, like, not restrictions, well, maybe restrictions, but like different precautions you're taking. Two, you can kind of document your journey. So a lot of small business owners, like I just made a video about this yesterday. I went out and found, like, instead of going to Starbucks, instead of going to big name brands, I went to my hair salon. I tipped her double. I went to the local coffee shop, and like I'm trying to support small businesses, and I think a lot of other people will too. So document your journey as a small business owner and say like, hey, it's honestly been tough. Like the government's kind of like screwed us over, or however you want to approach it. It's been tough just not having that income and then not being able to help the clients and do what I really enjoy doing and stuff like that. And not necessarily a sob story, but just like being honest with people and then showing them that you're passionate to get back to work and you're so excited. And if you're able to really convey that message to people, whether it's through like Facebook or Instagram stories, through little live videos like this, or just even like pre-recorded videos if you're scared to do a live video.
It is
I
scary.
will say, yeah, I know it's scary. Like I've done so many live videos and so much content, but I'm still getting nervous every time. Like even this morning, I was like, okay, what should I say? I hope I don't mess up, you know, so we all have those fears.
Yeah.
Um, but once you do it and keep doing it and just get yourself out there, it becomes easier.
Yeah. Another thing we've been doing is, of course, if you have that option, like an iPad Pro or something, we've been doing a lot of like virtual browse examples. And
Yeah.
I started this whole thing about if you have old permanent makeup, how do you correct it? Can you have this done or can you have that done? And like trying to show people how it will look. But yeah, everyone started posting their certificates that they have done this course and that course to prevent coronavirus spreading.
Yeah.
Everything is about or around coronavirus now. So I think, yeah, that would be really helpful.
Yeah, I would even say go a step further and do a little short video. You guys are going to get tired of hearing me say videos, but that's really where it's at. Do a little short video and like pull out your certificate and say like, hey, this is a certificate I got. This is what I learned there. This is why you should care. And like, just explain it, even if it's only like a minute long or 2 minutes long. Like these type of things really do. If nothing else, psychologically, people can see like, oh, this person like knows what they're talking about. They seem like a nice person. I want to go to her instead of just price shopping for the cheapest price.
So videos, because people can relate to you better, because they can connect to you rather than just a
Yep,
photo. Okay.
exactly.
So are those videos better to be posted in your feed, or is it better to just have them in stories that disappear after 24 hours?
Both.
Both.
I would do the longer videos on like Instagram TV or just your Facebook page. And then I would do like shorter videos that maybe like 10, 15 seconds or 45 seconds and do those on the stories.
Okay. So in terms of consistency, how much is too much? How many posts? I know there's maybe not a specific number, but should we post every day? Should we post twice a day? Should we just do it every couple of days because maybe people will get tired of us? Is there a way that helps better?
Yeah, I would say no more than once a day. Um, but at the same time, it's kind of subjective because if you have the best content in the world, then you might want to post every day. Obviously, I know that's a stretch. Like nobody feels like they have the best content in the world. But what my point is, like, if you can make it like entertaining and educational and have a variety, you're able to post a little bit more like once a day, as opposed to like if you only post a picture of your work every single day, even if it's the best work in the world, people are going to get bored with that because they don't want to
Yeah.
see the same thing over and over.
Yeah, okay, so that makes sense. I get super excited when I have this idea in my mind and I'm spreading it into a few posts, and then I want to post everything in one go, but then
Yeah.
people will not see them, and it needs to be specific times, right? When people are at home, and well, people are at home now anyways. But yeah, when they're not watching a movie, eating popcorn, when they're scrolling on their phone. Okay. This is super helpful even for me, that we already use your services. And by the way, guys, Jake is absolutely amazing and super affordable, and he will just really connect to you and give you advice that honestly no other like sort of advertising agency does. They just take your money and ask you what you want to do. So I think you're amazing. Now, after lockdown, and this will be tricky because a lot of people, we are so many permanent makeup artists, and of course clients will be wary, even those that limited niche of clients that will still want to have this done. How do we attract them without honestly dropping our prices to ridiculously low levels, which a lot of people have already started to do? It will be challenging. Is there anything that you suggest?
Yeah, I mean, you'll see that all this stuff kind of flows together because the more quality content you're able to do, the less people are going to price shop, because especially now more than ever, people, since they're kind of nervous about everything, they're going to be willing to pay a little bit extra to get the better quality service, to get the safer service, like things like that. Like they're going to pay premium to stay safe. And so the more you can really show them why you shouldn't focus on price, but maybe just educate them. And here's another idea. Do a little post, or I mean, not everything has to be video. You can translate it to like pictures and slideshows and stuff. But ideally, I would do like a little video talking about the top 5 things to look for in a permanent makeup artist, or how to choose the right artist for you, or the right brow style, and just really educate them in a way that just, you know, makes them like, oh, that makes sense. Like, now I want to come to her because she knows what she's talking about, or she has that certain style.
Okay. Yeah, those are really good tips. I need to start doing those too. Medine also says he's very responsive too. So yeah, she's happy with your services as well. I was quite surprised when I posted how many of our students, as well as, you know, colleagues or peers, actually already work with you. Not just the big names, but also the smaller ones as well.
Yeah, I know.
So, but should we do any type of offers, even if it's just, because we need to be understanding as well. A lot of people have been out of work. They haven't made any money. So, you know, do you think will that attract them as well, or it should just be symbolic?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that offers should be used strategically. I think that, I mean, I've always said this even before Corona, like you don't want to always do offers and you don't always want to do sales, because it's a very slippery slope. Because I mean, you do $100 off and now everybody wants $100 off, and then you have to keep doing that to get the same amount of attention, and then it just goes downhill from there. And so honestly, I would, if you're going to do an offer, just be careful. Like, make sure it's very limited time. Make sure you stick to that time limit. And then one thing that I always tell people, instead of just doing like $100 off, or like, I guess you would say like 50 pounds off or something, instead of always just doing like a straight discount, make your offer better by doing a bundle. And so, and I know a lot of people are probably thinking, well, I only offer one service, how can I do a bundle? So here's your homework today if you're watching this, or maybe do it tomorrow if it's late there. Write down 7 bonuses that are included with your service. And so let's say you do microblading. Write down 7 bonuses. Now these don't have to be huge things. They can be like anything from a complimentary consultation to something about your touch up. It can be free Wi-Fi, free parking, like free bottle of water, like premium aftercare, or like, you know, VIP aftercare, like anything like that. Write down 7 things. And that way, when you can package it together like a bundle, and this even works even better if you have more than one service. But you can do this with one service too, and just make sure people know that, hey, I'm not just getting brows, I'm getting all these things. It's included. Like, if you look at any major retailer that does a lot of marketing and stuff, they'll always like make sure they list all the benefits, like gluten-free and like all that stuff. Just because like people want to feel like they're getting more. I mean, that's the whole principle of selling, is you're exchanging value for value. So if people know that they're getting all this extra value, now they're going to look at it differently than if they just thought they were getting one single item.
Okay. So like generally in the UK, people offer the price for both sessions. So when you first have this done, you get 2 sessions, the first and then the touch up after about 1 month. And we just offer like a full price. We don't necessarily break it down. So maybe we could even say something like, you'll get, you know, first 20 people will get complimentary touch-ups, which is the one included in the price, but you'll actually be reducing the price a little bit, maybe that.
Yeah, just be careful with that, because the biggest mistake I see is people just say complimentary consultation or complimentary touch-up, and then that means nothing to a normal person, because they don't know what a touch-up really is. And so make sure you explain what a touch-up is, how much the
Okay.
normal value is, and that way,
Yeah.
like you can say like, this is a touch-up, it's required. It helps with retention or whatever, know better,
Yeah.
know better than I do. But
But
then,
put the value associated to it as
yeah,
well. Okay.
exactly. I'd say like normally this is 150 pounds, but for the first 20 people, I'm going to do it for 75 or something like that.
Okay. Okay. So that makes sense. So put the value as well. Really good tips. Really good tips, Jake. That's amazing. So try, guys, as much as possible not to drop your knickers down when it comes to prices. Okay, so we also have, because we're a training academy, and we have a lot of people that have been looking into courses in this time, a little bit more quiet at home, more time for practice. But we always get this question, but how do I start now? Because after lockdown, after coronavirus, it will be challenging for existing reputable businesses as well. What do I do as a newbie, as a new permanent makeup starter? Is there anything that can help them get off the ground without being an epic fail?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few things I would say. For one, I would say last year was harder. I know right now we're shut down, but like I think overall, once we like next year when we look back, I think we'll say that 2019 was harder for artists, and here's why. When the economies are great, like anyone can go out and get a loan and get trained and just kind of like what I call half-ass it. They're not really they're not dedicated, they're not passionate. They just like, oh, okay, I'm going to do this for a little bit extra money. And we saw that a lot the past couple of years. And so I think this is going to wash out a lot of those people who weren't really serious about permanent makeup. They were just like coming in and trying to make a quick buck, and they were charging like super cheap prices and just devaluing everything. I think those people are going to be kind of gone now. And so I think in a way, it's going to be easier once everything gets opened back up and a little bit more normalized. But with that being said, going back to your original question, things people can do are just educate yourself, like watch videos like this, like I've got a YouTube channel where I have like, I think 30, 40, 50 free videos where it's interviews similar to this, and you can learn a lot. So you don't even have to spend any money for that. It's all free advice. Listen to podcasts. I've got a podcast. I know there's a couple other permanent makeup podcasts. Make sure that you understand like how to market yourself and how to at least communicate your service. Because that's the thing. Like even like let's say a dentists go to school for 8 years and pay all this money, but they never learn, like not one class teaches them how to get clients. And so and same thing with permanent, or a lot of permanent makeup. I know with I think you teach your clients about
Yes.
marketing, or your students
Yes,
about marketing.
we include that as well. It's not the main part, but
Right.
we touch base on it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I understand. Like that's a good thing about working with a guy like me is I understand your journey, because a typical marketer has no idea. But I understand that like when you're trying to learn how to do a technique, when you're trying to learn all this stuff like safety and all this crap, the last thing on your mind is marketing. And so
But it's actually what gets everything going.
Yeah.
Like everything else needs to follow, but that's the horsepower, that's the engine. You need marketing, and you need social media. And guys, it takes so much time of my life. Social media takes so much time of my life, and Jake has really helped with sponsored ads. Like I just feel like I can breathe a little bit now and focus more on content rather than everything else, which can be a pain.
Yeah, and there are a lot of ways to save time when it comes to content. Like you don't have to make a unique piece of content for everything. One of my favorite things to do is to make one video and then put it on Instagram TV, put it on my YouTube channel, put it on my website as a blog, like put it on my Facebook page. And so I'm taking one piece of content, I'm just putting it everywhere. And so that's really the easiest thing to do besides trying to think of a unique piece of content for every single platform.
Mm-hmm. Okay. It's not easy for a permanent makeup artist to have a YouTube channel. To be honest, it's one of my regrets, because I haven't really spent a lot of time on it. We started one and then I just dropped it a few years ago, and maybe I should. But other than giving out tips and tricks, there's not much, like, filming a procedure maybe. So it's a little bit limited, I think, for a permanent makeup artist to run a YouTube channel. Or
Well,
might be wrong.
I mean, for a trainer, you could do a lot of cool things when people are probably looking into becoming a permanent makeup artist, they want to know what's the typical daily life, what's the typical schedule, and just all those little things that you take for granted because you've been doing it for years. Like they're probably wondering that kind of stuff. And then for a permanent makeup artist, as far as YouTube goes, like there's so many types of videos you can do. Um, you can start out by doing like a studio walkthrough. That's usually a good first video because people, they don't even have to have the camera on themselves. They just put the camera on the studio and they can walk around and show and explain some stuff. That makes a huge difference. Like, because I know like anytime I'm looking for a service, like last year I was looking for a massage place in like a big city, and you would be surprised at how many places don't show the inside of their studio. And it's like, well, like as human beings, we are scared. I mean, we have a survival mechanism. And so if I don't know, like we're afraid of the unknown. And so if I don't know what a studio looks like, if I don't know what a place looks like, I'm going to start thinking worst case scenario, like, oh, is this place like a dump? Or are they going to like rob me? You know, is it a bad place? And so that's why I like showing people things as long as it frees up that uncertainty, because there's two things that really stop people from buying, and that's usually fear or uncertainty. And those kind of go hand in hand. And so always try to get rid of the uncertainty just by getting yourself out there, showing yourself, showing your studio. Yeah, I don't want
to. So things that you don't necessarily, because you take them for granted, you do them every day. But as you said, maybe a lot of people are actually wondering how everything looks, how you do things, how is your day to day. So like really basic stuff. We have a question from Browse by K. What if you don't have a studio yet?
Yeah, I mean,
startup.
Just do the videos at your home. Like right now, I'm in my home office. You can do them anywhere. Like you can do them outside. There's better lighting outside usually, as long as it's not too sunny. But the other thing you can do is document your journey. So instead of just trying to produce a finished piece of content, document the process. Say like, hey guys, I don't have a studio yet, but this is what I'm looking for. Like here's some examples of my friends that have studios and how they look. Obviously without promoting them too much, but just like showing like what you're going through as a small business owner looking for. Because a lot of people, they don't understand what all goes into a small business, especially permanent makeup. And so exposing them to all those different factors will give them a little bit more empathy, so that they'll say like, oh, well, they have to go through so much, and like there's so much that goes into it. I'm not going to sit here and beg for a discount, because they are obviously paying a lot of expenses and doing a lot of things and, you know, putting a lot of thought into it.
Well, we wish anyway. People love good discount and bargaining. It's like the fish market.
Yeah.
We don't sell fish. Yeah, or you could do videos like Jake suggested, videos of how you set up your workstation, your trolley. What is it that you add there and why? What does each product do? How does it help with hygiene, with you know, disinfection, cross-contamination, things like this? Like just show them that you also know what you're talking about, even if you don't have a studio yet.
Yeah, and even if you're scared to do videos, like super scared, the first video you can do is a time lapse, and that way you don't have to talk at all. You just set up a camera, and any phone can do this nowadays. You just set up the camera on like a tripod. You can get a $15 tripod on Amazon. I recommend investing in like one of the like $50 ones, because those are a little bit more sturdy and taller, which is what I got right now on my table. But yeah, tripod's a great investment. You can buy little phone clips that go on tripods, so you can hold your smartphone. You don't need a fancy camera. You don't need fancy videographers. Like you can do all this stuff on a phone.
Yeah, that's so true. But it can still be scary. We have someone else saying, I struggle to get clients in my area. There are so many artists that are so cheap. Oh, I feel you, Nick. It's the same problem everywhere. We live, Jake doesn't know this, we are based in Essex. Essex is known in the UK as being the area for, I call it, plastic is fantastic. Like everything here is towards that, you know, fake. Like everything is everything is about beauty, about looking perfect all the time, top notch, false lashes, fake boobies, like perma makeup everywhere. This is the part of UK, and of course it's also really concentrated per square kilometer of perma makeup artists. and it's hard. We've been around for about 6 years, so we're quite established, but for newbies, it's definitely difficult.
Yeah, and price, I want you guys to realize that price is only one factor in the decision-making process. When it comes to sales, because I mean, there's marketing and selling are two different things, but they really go hand in hand. When it comes to selling, everyone is going to have what's called an objection. And most of the time they're going to be respectful and they want to save face. And so they
Yeah.
don't want to insult you. And so if someone says you're too expensive, a lot of times what they're actually saying is either they don't have enough information, they don't really trust you, they don't really know enough, or they don't believe in your service or your product and the way you present it. And so if you're getting a lot of people to say, hey, you're too expensive, then maybe you need to go look at the content you're producing and kind of reframe the way you're marketing yourself.
Or maybe not just that, but I would come and say, I would add to that, Jake, and say, maybe those are not the clients for you, because those clients are the type of client that is willing to have anything done by anyone as long as it's cheap. And they will never quantify and appreciate quality work and quality results. They're better off taking a Sharpie and drawing an eyebrow on their face, because that's what will make them happy in the end. It's about targeting that type of clientele that you work with. When I first started off and my prices were a little bit lower, although I never had really low prices, I never started with, I don't know, £75 and then go up to 500. But when I first started off, I now can see and notice the difference between the clientele that I had then, when I had slightly cheaper prices, and the clientele that I have now. Back then, I had clients that would have no disregard for the hours. They would contact me at midnight if they had a question. They would ask me the same question 10 times. But now I have educated clients that understand when I'm talking to them and what I'm trying to say to them. And sometimes a lot of them don't even contact me until it's their touch-up date, basically. So it just depends. It's hard, but you have to stay strong.
Yeah, I 100% agree that like prices do also help determine what kind of clients you're going to get, because like you said, the cheapest people who want the biggest discounts are also going to be the biggest pains in the butt. Yeah. And so that's why most of the time I never recommend lowering your prices like crazy, because I mean, it's always funny to me when my clients are like, well, I want to attract the wealthy people. I want to get all the people with money and that are going to spend it without question. And then they're like, I'll do 25 pounds off. And then I'm like, okay, do you really think someone with a lot of money cares about 25 pounds? Probably not. You need to focus on the other things, like what value you're providing. And then I haven't even mentioned this. It's like the way you redirect people away from price, besides showing the value, is also talk about the experience. And so instead of saying like, you're going to get these brows and here's a picture of them, say, I remember when I didn't have permanent makeup, it was awful because I'd have to get up and spend at least 15 minutes every day putting on my brows. And I never got to spend time with my kids or send them off to school because I was just wasting all that time. Now that I have them, I can just jump up, I can feel great, and I can just spend that quality time with my family or just do what I want to do without wasting that time. And so try to throw in some emotion experience into it when you're communicating. And this is not just for ads. This is for like any post or content, or I mean anything. I always think like, what are the core emotional principles that I'm kind of portraying, and am I just making it about price? Because a lot of times artists do this to themselves. They make everything about price. They're like, come on by, I got $100 off, or this is discounted, and then that's all they talk about is price. And then they wonder why everybody cares about price. It's because that's all they talk about.
You know what, you're right. There was a time when I did fall into that trap. And I just had clients message me and ask, when is your next promotion? When is your next sale? I'll just wait for then. And I would tell them, I don't think we have any new one coming. But then once you get those clients asking, you start thinking, oh, maybe I should do another sale, because otherwise, look, I'm losing these clients. And it never ends. It never ends. It doesn't stop there.
Lowering your price is a shortcut. I mean, the only times I really ever recommend lowering the price is like if it's like an honest transaction. And so what I mean by that is if you are a brand new artist that has done 0 brows or maybe like less than 10, and you need to build up your portfolio quick, that isn't like, even if you charge like a little bit or a lot less than you normally would, that is more of an honest exchange of value. And I'm only talking about like the first 10 clients, because the agreement you're going to make is not about money for you at that point. It is long term, but not short term. The agreement you're going to make with them to get models is like, hey, I'm going to use your pictures. I'm going to use the videos I create with you. I'm going to get you to give me a review if you believe in my service. I'm going to get you to get me a review, maybe even get a video testimonial. And you're going to, those things that you're getting from them are going to be worth more to you than the extra like 100 pounds short term. And so that's how I kind of think about long term when someone is brand new.
Absolutely. That's something similar we say to our students as well. When you first start off, just say you need to build your portfolio. So, you know, retail price will be this, but the first 20 odd clients will get this price, and that's it. That's your cutoff. And also try not to post it everywhere, because then you'll be on Facebook groups, you'll be, and people will just find it, and it will just backfire. It will come back to you. So post it once where you know you have the most engagement, and that's it. Don't talk about it again. Yeah. And
going back to an original question you had, like coming back from coronavirus, people may like have less money and stuff. So if you are going to offer a discount, I recommend never post a discount on your page, because if you post it on your page or your Instagram profile, it's there forever. And so the way I would strategically use it, if you're going to, is by giving people a personal message. And so once they get in contact with you and they're interested, and maybe like you've already talked to them about it and they're like, I'm going to think about it. If you really do need that revenue within the next month or so, that's when you can be like, hey, look, I'm just now opening up. I could use, like I've got this, or I mean, don't sound like a sob story, like I said, but also maybe that's when you strategically offer them a unique discount. And that's because you're able to, and you only want to do this with people that look like they're going to be good clients. You don't want to, the bad thing about offering a discount to everyone is you're going to get all those clients that are probably not the best quality, like you were talking about. It might be like not great clients. And so long story short, if you offer someone a personal discount, like, hey, Alex, since you went Instagram live with me, I'm going to give you $100 off or something like that. You know, you give them a logical reason, and you're also, it makes them feel special instead of just blasting it out to everyone.
Okay, that makes sense. So contact them directly.
Mm-hmm.
What about doing posts on your page without it looking like an offer, like a promotion or something? Saying something like, guys, I just bought this set of 5 new pigments that I just want to try off, and I'm going to have a reduced price for lip tattooing in the next, I don't know, 1 month or so. Would that help as well? Without it looking like a specific...
Yeah. And that would also give you a chance to kind of like explain the pigment a little bit more and establish yourself as an expert and build that trust, instead of just saying a blanket discount. You know, you're giving some value also that's going to help you in the long run. For those of you who offer multiple services, you can also do like a bundle package if they do more than one service. That way you're at least eliminating those people who only want something quick and cheap. You're getting someone who's at least serious enough to like get multiple services.
Okay, that makes sense. Jake, this is amazing. Honestly, you've been amazing. So guys, focus more on videos that are, if you can, and if you feel comfortable, quite personal in the sense that you are in the video, you talk about yourself, you talk about your business and the challenges that you face, and leave the expert stuff to Jake, because he will definitely help you with that. One more thing I had, what was it? Yeah, so I noticed a lot of, and this is something for our students and artists as well, a lot of people have started doing these promotions and special prices for NHS workers. NHS is our national health system here.
Yeah. And
of course we applaud, and we are super, super proud of them for being the front line in this whole scary coronavirus thing. But don't fall into the trap of making offers only for them, because then what about the rest of the world? You're making NHS workers feel super important and appreciated, but the rest of the world and the rest of your clients will say, well, yeah, I applaud them as well, but then I've been staying at home and have no money, so what are you doing for me?
Yeah, I mean, that's the other disadvantage of discounts is now if clients feel like they've already paid for something and then you're giving it to someone else for cheaper, or you're playing favorites, then that can always come back and bite you. So always think about the potential consequences of doing any kind of offer.
Yeah, especially in these times. Thank you so much, Jake. It's been amazing, honestly. Guys, if you want to, by the way, you have this boot camp coming in June. Can you tell us something about that?
Let me see if I can get my little graphic up here for it, because I had we finally finished that last night. Yeah, I got a boot camp coming in about 10 days. There's not a set date for it. I'm gonna ask in poll and see when it's best to start for everyone. But sorry, that TV's on back there.
Yeah.
All right.
I hope that's
yeah.
not you.
Whoops. Yeah. Sorry, I'm messing up your live
That's
video.
all right. You're most welcome, Emily. Emily, if you have any questions, just let us know. Nick, you're welcome as well.
All right, so I've got, as you see behind me, I've got a summer marketing 2020 boot camp. Basically what it's going to be is it's going to be probably 4 weeks, where each week I'm going to do a video that's going to be live, interactive. You can ask questions, and it's going to be a group setting. And that way we're able to really focus on the issues that we've kind of mentioned, like coming back to work, how to really get your message out there without doing a lot of discounts and things like that. It's free. I'm not selling it or anything. It's just my way of kind of giving back to all my artists, because I've seen how much they've kind of been hurting and struggling the past few months. And so I just want to give back, kind of get everybody like remotivated and just like on a good path and a good strategy for the rest of the year. If you want to sign up for that, you can either message me, or I posted on my Instagram recently, but I'll make it very easy to find. So just wanted to let you guys know that.
Thank you, Jake. Head over to his account for more details. Message him. He's very responsive, as Medin earlier mentioned. Honestly, I don't think you ever sleep. I don't know when you sleep.
I don't.
Don't. Like, even if it's 2 a.m. here, but well, of course there's a time difference as well, but I feel like you never sleep. You're most welcome. I did have one quick question for you. Sorry. Someone asked me to ask you if you also manage accounts, like sort of take over accounts for them, whether Instagram or Facebook or even everything. Like, Jake, this is my business on social media. Here you go. You take it. You manage it for me, because I know nothing about it. Do you also do that?
So that's a great question, and I see that a lot. And here's my best advice for you, and this is great for advice for anyone. Unless you can afford to pay thousands of pounds or dollars, because that's typically what a good social media manager charges. And I know, because I used to be one for salons. You really don't want to do that. Not only because the price, but also your content, just like all the content that I've explained this video, that it's very unique to you. And so I see a lot of people that they'll pay these companies, and the companies will make the most generic post for them, and it just doesn't help at all, because it doesn't really portray all the things you need to portray when you're doing marketing. And so that's why I've stuck to an advertising service, to where it is very technical. It's not something I recommend doing on your own. It's taken me almost millions of dollars to learn how to do it via testing. And so I would recommend doing your own post, because at the end of the day, like, it's really not that hard to post as long as you know the concepts. And that's what I do, is I'll take my clients and I'll teach them the concepts and what they can do, that even if they're busy, they can save a lot of time, and they can just do what is really the minimum amount necessary to get the maximum impact. And so, long story short, I know that was a long-winded answer. No, I don't do full social media management, but I don't recommend, unless you're just like, unless you just have like 5 artists under you and you have somebody in-house, I don't recommend just hiring a company just to make posts for you.
Yeah, because it can all end up looking more or less the same. Basically. And it's quite hard for an agency, or even you and your girlfriend, wife. Sorry. I don't know exactly. You're two, but still, to manage all of these and so many accounts and come up with original posts for everyone, I think that would make it very difficult.
Right.
So we just have one little question. So someone's already signed up for your bootcamp. That's great. I think she's from Germany, actually. How much would you charge a beginner for a set of brows? How much is not too much or not too little? Beata, it really depends where you live and
Yeah.
where you work. If you work in London, the price range is really from £100 to 700, £800 per session. So it really depends where you work, I think. But try maybe, of course, not being at the high end, but try maybe somewhere in the middle and just do a few, as Jake said, introductory offers at the beginning, and slowly. I think it's very difficult to increase your prices. If you start with £150 and your foreseeable future is somewhere around £400, that's really difficult to get to there.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and do your market research. Like obviously you don't want to be the lowest, but you also until you build up a huge portfolio and stuff, you don't want to be the highest either. And so try to do your market research and then also focus on the content, like I've been saying, and you'll succeed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so we have 2 followers from Germany. Hi guys. I don't know how you say Guten Tag.
Yeah,
Abend,
I
something
took
like
a German class. I took a German class in college, but I didn't do that well.
that. It's a very difficult language. It's nice, but it's very difficult to learn. Jake, you have been very, very good. Thank you so much for joining us. I will continue posting your posts as well about the bootcamp and everything else. And thank you. I'll try to save this video. Thankfully, fingers crossed, fine, and then I'll send it to you as well.
All right. Well, thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure. I love sharing my knowledge and look forward to talking with you some more soon.
Yeah, same here. Bye. Have a good day.
All right. Bye.
Bye, guys.